If you want a high finish or even a chicken dinner, you've got to have a plan in PUBG. So I've put together 3 solo beginner strategies and a cheesy bonus strategy to help put you in charge of your gameplay and take away some of the randomness of drops, enemies and the circle. At the end, I also discuss final circle tactics to get you beyond that top 10 and into the top 3. Please bear in mind though that no matter how good your strategies, tactics and gunplay are, in order to get a high finish or a win in PUBG, a number of those random things do have to kind of be in your favour. You know, the route of the plane, the loot you get, supply drops coming in and moving players out of position, the plans those other players might have, and most importantly where the circle goes and the terrain it ends up on. So you'll have to adjust these strategies depending on the circle, that terrain, and also what your enemies are doing. Now remember, these strategies are about getting into the top 10 to the final circles, not about getting the most kills, and in fact you're better off avoiding as many gunfights as you can early on in the game to remove that randomness from that match. Strategy 1, an aggressive strategy. Let's call this chase the centre, and you can do this on vehicle or foot. The idea of this strategy is that if you can get to the centre of each circle first, you won't have to worry about people shooting you in the back when they're running in behind you, or you won't have to worry about being shot by enemies camped in buildings in front of you because you'll be there first waiting for everyone else. This is also a good strategy to improve your gunfighting skills because you will be running into lots of enemy players. Drop in the centre of the map and loot hard. Find a vehicle if you can, because you're going to have to move fast. Try to get the centre of the circle first each time it appears, and of course engage enemies if necessary. Try and keep that vehicle for as long as possible. Remember that you need to get into cover, so don't be blinded by just going straight to the centre. Always be looking for good cover in the 6th, 7th and 8th circles and shoot people come in, but you are going to have to abandon that vehicle at some point. But remember, you need to move early and move fast to the centre of the next circle, or get to the cover that's nearest as you can. Strategy 2, defensive. Let's call this clear a path, and probably my favourite strategy. And again, you can do this on vehicle or foot. The idea of this strategy is that by starting at the edge of the map and working towards the centre, you'll never have people at your back. It also relies on the habit that most players have of running towards the centre of the circle to avoid the blue zone, rather than taking diagonal paths around the edge. What you've got to do is you drop away from the flight path along the coastal roads. Don't drop towards the towns, and then land, loot if you can. What will probably happen is you'll grab a vehicle and drive to the nearest houses. If you've got time, move further along the coast away from the main flight path, and then start making your way in towards the circle in pretty much a straight line, but avoid those named areas and the hotspots you already know about. Use cover and looting if you need to. Now, depending on where the circle goes, you might have to use a vehicle for the first couple of circles to get you in if it's a long way away, but then abandon the vehicle as soon as you can so the noise of the vehicle isn't attracting enemies to you. Now, strategy 3, the backup plan. You've got to use this when there's a circle that's a long way from where you've dropped. Say it appears on the military base island and you've dropped, say, all the way over in the northwest. So what you've got to do is get down on the ground as quick as you can, grab a vehicle if you can, and loot up. And then what we want to do is, when you're happy, then use that vehicle to get onto, for example, the military island. But when you're on the military island, imagine that's almost like the first circle. So then you make a decision and go, okay, I'm going to use an edge strategy now. So you would drive round to the coast that's closest to the edge of the circle and start making your way in from there. Or you might say, actually, I'm going to run for the centre. So you're going to wait for the centre to move and then move to the centre and start engaging that way. The bonus strategy, which, you know, is a bit cheesy, but I'll tell you what, it's probably the best way to guarantee a top 10 finish in almost every game, and that is to always stay in a vehicle right up until the last seconds of the game. This works in solo because you never get that many people shooting at you. Not always in duos or squads, because when you've got a whole squad firing their AK-47s at a jeep, it blows up pretty quick. But in solo, you can just keep driving around and around. So what you do is you drop along the coast roads, you loot up, hopefully find some fuel. And one of the best vehicles to do this is the hardtop Jeep, and then just slowly follow the circle in. Well, as the circle starts to get really tight, just increase your speed and start driving around in circles and circles, and you can run players over at where you can. Only abandon your Jeep if it's about to blow up or it's totally necessary, and then obviously engage the enemies. Now, the final couple of circles, well, probably the last 3 or 4 in PUBG, are a tense affair. By this time, everyone will have good guns and armour, and people will probably have quite a few grenades too, and you'll have the random cars driving around. But because of the random nature of where the circle could be, every end game is slightly different. The tactics you use will be dictated by the terrain and where the circle drops, but the most important tools you've got are your hearing and looking at the kill feed. So what you're doing is you're listening out for gunfire, the direction that it comes from, and whether they kill somebody. So if you hear some gunfire, like a M16 firing, and then you see someone pop up in the kill feed, you know that person who fired the M16 is still alive because they've just killed somebody and they're coming maybe towards you. At this point as well, you want to be popping all your painkillers and your energy drinks to give you that boost. Make sure you've reloaded your guns and make sure they're on the right fire setting. You haven't left your, for example, you haven't left your UMP in single fire mode, and then wait. Because in an ideal situation, the circle will fall on you and your enemies will have to move first. You'll see them moving and then you can shoot them. This is rarely the case though, so you'll need to move. But just be aware that at this stage, most people will be hiding prone in the grass, behind trees, in bushes or in buildings, normally around the edge of the circle. But human nature means that they'll be concentrating on looking where they've got to go. So they'll be thinking, right, where have I got to go next to get into the middle of the circle? So you kind of take advantage of this, where if you've got to move, you can then spiral in sideways, following the edge of the circle, moving towards the narrowest part of the circle to catch them off guard. Look behind trees, look into bushes. When people are in buildings, it can be very, very difficult. So in that case, sometimes your best bet is just to stay safe and then wait for them to be forced out of their buildings by the circle changing. Remember, if you've got grenades, you can use them now. As it gets really close, lob a few grenades out, see if you can get some cheeky kills. When you're not sure what's happening, go prone and hide. Hold on to that right bumper and keep looking around. People will often move very, very late. And you'll be surprised you can have an enemy right next to you that you didn't notice. And all of a sudden they jump up and start moving and you can shoot them, or they might shoot you. But stay calm, keep accurate, and with luck, you'll get a high finisher, or, who knows, even a chicken dinner. Okay, so hopefully this has been a useful video. Put your questions and comments, what you do for circle strategies and tactics, down below. If you enjoy the video, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. Thank you very, very much, and I will see you again soon.